Great Nigerians, wonderful viewers and listeners of Living Radio 90.9 and Living Television. I know you are there again for us today, your favorite program, Issues of the Moment. In today's Issues of the Moment, we are considering the part 2 of the protest. Remember last week we talked about the protest on Onanuga's accusation on Peter B and Peter B's response to that. Today we are continuing with just about 2 days to the August 1st nationwide protest against hardship, hunger brought on the country by some of the policies of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nigerians are still largely divided over the choice of demonstration to register their displeasure with the government. Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbedokun, yesterday explained why he asked groups planning those protests to register and provide requisite information at their respective state police command before embarking on the protest. Deputy Senate President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, also appealed to organizers of the protest to reconsider their decision and shelve the idea so that the fragile peace in the country would not be disrupted. As usual today, I have wonderful analysts in the house who are going to do justice to these topics. These and many more will be coming your way. From my far left, I have Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi is a historian. Not just a historian, he's a political affairs analyst and also a public affairs analyst. Comrade, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for having me and for welcoming me. Good day, listeners and viewers.
After him, I have another very important personality in our midst, a journalist par excellence and a man who has paid his dues in terms of pain. When they say that the pain is mightier than the brain, you are looking at the man right before you now. I am talking about no other person but the president we've not had, but by the special grace of God, by 2027, he is the presidential candidate, or do I say candidate, or aspirant of Rebuild Nigeria Party. I am talking about His Excellency John Kennedy Osuala. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you, friends, and welcome to the program. God bless all of you.
All right. With what is happening in Nigeria today, in fact, almost in all the media houses and television houses and so on, all people are talking about is this protest and so on. Now, recently, there have been a lot of appeals, pleadings and so on, even from the presidency, Mr. President himself and so on. Just about 2 days to go. And it looks as if a lot of people are still insisting that this protest must go on. Comrade.
Yes. It is within the constitutional confines or within the rights of intending protesters to protest as is guaranteed by the law. Within the framework of our law, the Constitution in section 39, in fact in chapter 4 precisely, contemplated protests. And there are many rights or several rights that cover protest. 1, rights to hold opinion and express them. 2, right to freedom of assembly. 3, right to freedom of conscience and thought. So people are free to think. And then from that thinking, they begin to criticize or critique a government constructively. It's not to be destructive. And let me even say it this way. If Nigeria had not protested, independence wouldn't have come in 1960. There were a series of protests. If you study nationalism or the struggle to nationhood or to attainment of nationhood or statehood, the Nigerian history, you see that there were resistances, there were nationalist movements known as modern nationalism and traditional nationalism. if you look at the traditional aspect of it, you see that you see things like Oba Ovaramoy, Nana of Ishekiri, and the rest of it. They try to protest, they try to resist the colonial overlords. Then if you look at the modern nationalists, you see the likes of Azikiwe, Awolowo, the scholars, Macaulay and the rest, and Ikonila, and the rest of them who try to build or mold the consciousness of the people to saying we don't want to be ruled by colonial diktats or ordinances of colonial fiat. We want to rule ourselves. So without that struggle or protest, Nigeria wouldn't be independent at the time it became independent. Also in 1999, if civilians had not actually demanded for and protested, some of them even went to exile, including the Mr. President. He was a political exile by that time. But some of them challenged the status quo. If that struggle had not happened and other things the way they did, to an extent we wouldn't be having democracy we are having today. Even the president wouldn't be the president by today. So he is a graduate of School of Protest. Don't forget what happened in 2012 when he was able to mobilize. He will always be in the vanguard and will sponsor, will even stage, will plan and execute protests. So protests is within the constitutional rights of every Nigerian, but must not be destructive. So I think the fear the government is having hinges on the fact that we are seeing what is happening in Kenya. We discussed Kenya the other day here, and we are seeing what's also happening elsewhere in Africa. So they are fearing that it may be a domino effect overrunning the entire continent, or at least the West African sub-region. So that does not take away the constitutionality of protest, because like I said, they are the tools used to measure public opinion. They are the tools used to measure government performance. They are the tools used to measure acceptance, popularity a government has. You understand? So I think my little advice is this. I will urge the political class or the elite to reduce conspicuous consumption. There is nothing we are going to talk here we've not said before in the past. We've talked about here the lavish, ostentatious life. These people exhibit. The other day I was saying here, how can a member of the House collect 160 million naira to procure SUV? After which they now saw that there was a need to expand the car park. They now collected 5 billion naira too. 5 billion naira for the Senate, 5 billion for. So these are the things, and we're talking about people are hungry following the subsidy removal, and then the flotation of the naira and the dollar vis-a-vis the dollar, or the unification of the coin, the foreign exchange windows. You are talking about buying the yacht for the president. You are talking about buying private jets. You are even talking about using billions. I think over 20 billion to build a lodge for the vice president. You are also talking about the fact that the first money bill Tinubu introduced to the National Assembly voted 70 billion to lawmakers to settle in. What is the meaning of settling? So I think, yes, we don't have any other country, and we love this country, but the political class must begin to get the message that what is happening today is what is known as frustration aggression theory in social sciences. There is a limit to what people can actually take. We have to be careful so that we don't destroy our country by ourselves, either knowingly or unknowingly.
All right, Your Excellency, it is a mot that what the IGP is embarking on, asking all the people, those who are going to embark on this protest, to get up their names and also explain the nature of the protest that will be taking place. Is it a must that they must write to the police? And is that not a gimmick of arrest after the protest?
Thank you. I think that the IGP is taking it too far. First, the foundation is that sovereignty belongs to the people. The people of Nigeria own the government of Nigeria. But the government of Nigeria always pretends to own the people. And that is what the IGP is exemplifying. You tell those who are angry, who are the people who are offended, people who don't feel happy, like Comrade said, now you tell them to come and bring their names, their addresses, their intentions, then I don't think you are very, very serious about that. It's not going to happen. The people will not come because what they are doing is not a tea party. They are not happy. They want something to change. And then with this protest business, all sorts of interests have flown into it. those who want to make resources for me, those who want to get political capital out of it. I'm thinking somebody started this business. It is Mr. President. When he removed that subsidy prematurely without consultation with his associates, I think this thing, if I were him and I thought they have political strategies, he would have solved this matter. You come again, ask your Minister of Information to announce that, or return to status quo ante, that fuel prices will now go back to what you saw it. And if I were him as a president, this thing will not get to this thing. It's a small thing that has been blown out of proportion. What we've been spending in the past 2 weeks is talking about protest. When you cost it, this government should get together, put their heads together, and solve this problem. Let him go come back. Electricity tariffs, all these things that they just increase their price. You bring them down. There won't be any protest. People are suffering. And then you brought 740 trucks of rice and all that, around 800-something-thousand back. Who will get this rice and who will not get? That problem is not rice. It's handle that fuel subsidy. It's a simple thing. If you don't want to make the announcements or revert yourself again, you ask your Minister of Information, say after due consultation that Mr. President has authorized that fuel prices return status quo ante. And if I were him, you wouldn't even move status quo ante. You can go as to what was during Jonathan's era. You become an instant hero. Sometimes governments can create this. I thought that was what they were doing. They wanted to score a political point. At the nick of time, you come out to say, I have changed everything. And then you become a hero. But apparently they have other things in mind. And like he said, Comrade said, these people are experts in protests, especially their area. Comrade Oloni, Tunjo Tegbe, Tyson Arene, all of them have been doing it. And the Nadeko people, Bayo Manuga, they specialize. He says that he's a Nadoke person. He was printing his news magazine underground. They did even more. These people is just a small protest they want to do, and people are panicking. And I'm suspecting they are hiding something. Why are they uncomfortable? People say they will protest, and you are suddenly uncomfortable, and you are panicking, and you are getting traditional rulers. What else you know the answer? You cost it, give us the answer. You don't waste our time. The whole country, for the past 2 weeks, we are talking about protest. All right, diverting our attention.
All right, comrade, looking at it, sometime they said they have mapped out about 6 billion naira to ensure concerning this protest as we speak. And then the invitation of the traditional rulers, the ministers, meeting the governors and so on. Do you think all these waste of money is worth it just because of a protest?
Waste of money, energy and time, and waste of propaganda. It makes, to me, I have yet to see the justification for that. These people were flown all the way from their domains to Abuja to have a parley or talk with the president. These people are not the intended protesters you need to talk to, or the hungry Nigerians. They are part of the establishment. You understand? Now, they are part of the establishment. So you don't need to talk to them. You need to talk to people who are hungry. We have expected that the president would have made a national broadcast by now. You understand? I was telling someone, I said, if I were the president, in the interest of peace and security, I would own the narrative. How do I own the narrative? Everything about the protest, I will provide you in every environment, and they come and address you. You will see that protest may not even last up to 10 days. I'm telling you, don't take it for granted. If the government wants to own this protest, they can make it even diluted to the extent that the protesters will see the human side of these officials. But unfortunately, they are really to be insurrection because of what has happened in Kenya, elsewhere. But I have to say something, you see, flying traditional rulers or anybody is waste of resources, because at the end of the day, we saw what the ONU was talking about. What was he talking about? ONU was tacitly running up support for 2027. Somebody who wants to talk about protests happening next month was already muting 2027. He said it.
Yes.
The ONU or one of them said it, and it's on record. They came out and started talking about 2027. People are hungry today, and we're talking about 2027. So I think, and this is why I have issue with this country. You understand? We leave the most pressing things to chase after trifle issues. The house is burning, and we are busy hunting rats. So to me, I think the president should actually look at the mama as well, see, like he said, where to revert himself, because we are suffering from two things now. And let me say it here: the subsidies you are talking about, subsidy removal, is a program of the IMF. That was what IMF also told Kenya to do. It has a foreign policy twist or a foreign policy angle. IMF was telling Nigeria, in fact, it's been through their releases, through their publications, whether you're talking about the global economic outlook or their country reports, they will tell Nigeria to remove subsidy and use the money to do conditional cash transfer. What is the president doing today? You are transferring cash to people you can't even identify. So, like he said, the problem is not about hunger, which is not letting up. It's not about sharing.
Those are so-called palliatives.
No, it's not about
palliatives.
People are saying, in fact, take us back to where you found us or where you met us. I think by now, remember the president promised us a lot of things during the campaign, even when he was acting as if he was camera shy then. He did say a lot of things. He said he had competence. He said he had character. He said he had capacity there. He also said he had experience. I'm quoting what the words he used. Then he said, when elected, he will hit the ground running. He was even talking about first 100 days, how it will be in office. Now we are having 1 year and counting. People are not telling us to be patient. And let me also emphasize this. 1 year out of 4 is 1/4 of the mile. So if you've gone 1/4 mile or 1/4 distance of one route you have to cover, and people are not yet seeing hope or any prospect, it simply calls for questioning. This is a democracy. People must be allowed to vent their opinions or to easily say, this is how I feel about the government. And it's left for government also to come up with tangible results. Now, what the people are asking is tangible. We want to buy fuel cheaper. We want to consume electricity at a cheaper rate, like you did hitherto. Not bags of rice that may be funneled or channeled into where we cannot even see. Because since it's talking about these palliatives, whether you're talking about 20 trucks coming to other state or 30, I will still tell you that many people may not even have access to them. In times that we've had this before, we had it in Shopee, we had it in Fadama, we had it in many programs, even during COVID. So I think the president should begin to look at how to solve things that are tangible, not intangible things.
All right, Your Excellency, almost all the Nigerians, 90% of Nigerians are blaming this hard economy, hunger and starvation on the removal of this oil subsidy by Mr. President without making plans for it. And now, do you think it is possible for Mr. President to reverse this subsidy issue? I'm talking about subsidy removal. What has been the effect of this subsidy removal? Has it in a way, the economy, has it stopped Nigerians from borrowing? So what are we talking about this subsidy? What is the most positive thing that has happened since this subsidy removal started?
Bro, there's so much confusion about this subsidy removal. First, some people say it's phantom subsidy, that no subsidy has been removed at all. And there are so many stories surrounding it. Even at one time, they said either those related to the former president went and told him, oh God, let's stop this subsidy, we have made too much money and all that. These things these people are saying is not clear. So how can you talk about subsidy removal? What you have actually done, you increased prices, and then state governments and the federal government are getting a lot of resources which people are channeling back to yourselves and not to the public. So it cannot work. Subsidy. My own take is that Mr. President should revert himself to status quo ante, the original price, so that Nigeria, because when it was, first of all, he did that without even consultation. Yeah. He should have been, first of all, there should be a Federal Executive Council meeting, they discuss it, look at its pros and cons, look at various dimensions of it, and then we'll come out with something. He just said it verbally, it will take place in July, it started immediately. So the same way he announced it will take, let him come, if I were him, tomorrow let him make a broadcast and announce that he has gone back to the previous position. So that even he would take the wind out of the sails of the protesters. People who, I don't even like to call them protesters. These are patriotic Nigerians who have feel shortchanged. No, you call them protests and all that.
And some of them even voted for him too.
Yes, now. And there is no difference between you are in APC, you are in this one. Everybody is suffering, whether it be so-called big men and whatever, excluding the members of the National Assembly. Like he said, you are happy. I read now that they want to slash their salary by 50%. That is not the problem. If you slash your salary by 50%, it will not solve the problem. Whereas this thing has a root Every problem has a root. Get to the root. It is the announcement of removal of whether it is phantom subsidy or not. Go back again and say, now this thing is this. If you do that, you become a hero. People will say, okay, you have this thing here. And I want to suggest that sometimes people in authority, especially the president, should move into the streets at night to feel what is happening to the people. Because it appears to me they don't know that people are suffering. They have everything free in the presidential villa, the Senate president and all that. They are enjoying. So when you say there's hardship, Nigerians are experiencing hardship, they don't believe it because they are not experiencing it themselves. So they cannot do anything. And I was thinking in the past 1 week or so, they should have come up with something to do. They have not come up with anything. They held a meeting in the SGF, Secretary to the Government of Installations Office, honorable ministers and all that. And then they resolved to tell the ministers to go back to their state. Is this time that they are now remembering that the ministers should get back to their constitution? Which means they were not going there. And they cannot come because they are not in tune with the people.
Yeah.
They don't have touch with the people. So this government is not working. That's what it is. So let Mr. President get back to the drawing board. And like you said, if you have lost 1 year, you have lost 1 year.
Yeah, exactly.
You've lost 1 year. And so you're saying you show competential experience. Such things are not existing. And I thought that there are some strategies in that government. I'm not seeing any. If we are there, we cannot see this type of thing. And on top of, you want to pour petrol into fire. You just said that the traditional leaders are talking about 2027. Yeah. You have not even gone beyond 1 year, and you are talking about 2027. The results have shown this is the type of experience people will have for the next 4 years, whether you like it or not. The last time I was here, I said, no matter the president you bring, they don't understand the dynamics of development. This thing will be recurring.
All right, comrade.
Yeah.
Now, the Mr. President recently signed into bill the national minimum wage of 70,000 naira,
yeah.
and there were encomiums and praises on him because of that 70 million. Do you
70,000 million?
Yeah, 70,000. Now, do you think that this is not a deeper way of impoverishing the people, considering what the National Assembly take home and what a civil servant is paid, just 70,000?
That was why, if you are listening very well when I was talking to that, I said conspicuous consumption, and then we need to also have redistribution of wealth or income in this country. It's unfortunate that we have the kind of system and we have enthroned and we have suspended that kind of system that works for a minority class that's not even up to 2% of the population of this country, the political class. All the persons elected, they are not up to 5,000. They are not up to. I'm talking about all the entire offices, anywhere, both houses of assembly, and they are not up to 5,000.
House of Assembly is about 1,000 and something.
Yeah, and then you also talk about
the
Senate, and then
they are not up to 5,000.
They are not up to 5,000.
They are not up to 5,000.
Of 200 million persons.
More than 200 million.
And then people are hungry. Over 133 million Nigerians are poor, multidimensionally. It simply means in all dimensions they are poor. Educationally poor, socially poor, economically poor, even spiritually poor, physically poor. Every aspect they are poor. And listen very well, it's not even the funny thing. And the report we are calling multidimensional was a report of 2022. In the intervening period, we've seen currency redesign and the cash swap took a toll on the economy.
Yes.
We've also had the COVID. And when you calculate all these things, the accumulation is that poverty might have worsened more than it was then when it was reported. But I have to say this, when the president was removing subsidy, do you know where my mind actually went to? Because I am usually balancing my own issues. I said, perhaps he is trying to fix the refineries. You understand? Because it was part of the promises he made. Remember, I will tell you something. Do you know that ever since the president removed subsidy, he's been telling Nigerians to have patience up to 6 times. The first time he did it was June 12 last year. His maiden democracy address. He said, I know the pains you are going through. I'm working to fix it. Then on the 31st of July, that same last year, he made the same speech in a national broadcast where he said, I'm working in your interest. Sorry, the pains will not be long. He now promised to roll out interventions by September and then October of that year. So today, we are already July, going to August. Almost 1 year. Now listen, by 1st January of this year, his New Year, in fact, his Christmas address too, carried the same thing. Then his New Year address carried the same thing again. Then to match one year in office, he was still saying the same thing. Be patient. be patient. Then this last month, when you have the democracy day, he said the same thing about 6 times. But the people you are telling to be patient have been patient all along. They are not seeing anything, rather they are seeing conspicuous concession among the political class. That is what is fueling the anger and the resentment. If you are a son of a wealthy father who doesn't give you what you ought to get in terms of education and needs, you won't be happy, you will protest. You understand? So what we are calling for, we are not saying let the nation sink or let it go down. No. What you're saying that the political class should try to be in tandem or be at power with the people they are governing. And I'm not sure it's like that elsewhere. So the issue of minimum wage, the other day someone went to market to buy a bag of rice. I'm talking about foreign rice. It was 98,000 naira. Can that minimum wage buy it? Some are doing so at the price of over 8,000 naira. We are talking about minimum wage that was existing when they protested against subsidy. I think minimum wage used to be about 18,000 naira then under Gobojan. A bag of rice sold at 7,500 naira, 8,000. So today, the average Nigerian worker cannot. I said here before the other time, this government failed to meet lower expectations. I remember I said we used to say we are looking to buy bags of rice, gari, beans, and the rest of them. Today we are even talking about wood and paint. That's lower expectation. So if at all people can't buy wood or paint of gari, it simply means we cut expectations low. You couldn't even meet us there. So I think it should be in their interest to begin to do the needful, including providing security to farmers and making sure that arable, cultivable lands are put into productive use so that Nigeria cannot continue going this way. You understand? So whether you are giving 70,000 naira to minimum as minimum wage, it is fine. Whether you are talking about education loan, it is fine. Whether you are talking about even giving order to NNPC now to sell product to Dangote in naira, fine. But remember what people are asking for, that tangible thing, the thing they used to enjoy before you came with your political reforms. How can we make them feel a sense of belonging? By purchasing things at lower price, which was what they expected when they voted for you. Thank you.
All right, follow up on that. That's 70,000 minimum wage.
Yeah.
Somebody said a senator takes about 350 something million a year. That at 70,000, it will take the Nigerian worker earning now 491 years to get 350 million that a senator earns in 1 year. And you are happy about it, 70,000. The 160 for the SUVs, I said the other time, 10 million small factory, we get 16 factories. So if they are talking even about conspicuous consumption, they should invest it in the real sector that will produce results. Whether they reduce their consumption or not, they are not investing it. Mr. President is making promises that he cannot deliver on. Be patient, be patient. Every day be patient. What are you doing? I said the other time, there must be things you are doing. If you are telling me to be patient, I must be seeing things you are doing.
Yes.
But you are not doing anything. After a period of time, come again and tell me, please be patient. What are you doing? You are buying jets for yourself. You are doing so many things for yourself, for your own good. You are increasing things for your associates. And you are telling me to be patient. It is not genuine.
All right.
And people are saying it.
All right, let us go back to petroleum. Recently, it is alleged that Owando is owned by Mr. President's family. And then directly, and recently also, just about 2 days ago, we learned that Ajib also had been bought by this same family. And what it automatically means that even the Nigerian petroleum it's just like that the NNPC there is there for fancy, and they're still the same people that control the finances of oil in this country. Comrade, are you aware of that?
Well, I have yet to see any official statement from the presidency denying or accepting that fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so I will leave it at that. I pray, and I don't want to believe that is the truth. I pray, I don't want to believe that is the truth. But then, that report was actually released. People wrote it, it's flying everywhere. And they even mentioned names of family members who control what and whatever. And then they even talked about the mortar business, the blending plants in mortar and all whatnot, which I think in the interest of, in public interest, if a leader is indicted or if there is such allegation, maybe from the grapevine and final allegation flying about everywhere, it behoves that the president talks even through his agents or through his minders and handlers to say, discountenance or distance yourself from such things. I do not own them, or I own them, but I own them before I became the president. But there's something that I want to also say. You see, the issue of Dangote coming up to say there are people in NNPC who own blending plants in Malta and then other business interests who are in the political class, it left me wondering that Obasanjo said something about the refineries not working, said something about vested interest militating on stifling growth again. Then I remember that NNPC was founded in 1977. They didn't make any financial audit until 2020. With me, they didn't, no auditing until 2021 or whatever. No auditing, no single reporting. That the NNPC was bold to tell us at some point that they recorded zero revenue, zero naira, zero kobo revenue. That they transmitted, they transferred nothing into the bank account. And when asked, they told us about oil theft and the volatility in the oil market. And it tells you something. That sector needs to be unbundled, that oil sector. And that's why I am calling on the president to go on there. Apart from saying sell oil or anything to them in there, which I say is welcome, and timeless and ideal, I want to see private sectors go into that sector, because capitalism thrives on competition, not just on monopolism. They are talking about monopoly. Do you know that NNPC is a monopolist? Because at some point during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, before Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they introduced what they call under recovery payment. What was it about? NNPC was the sole marketer and importer of the product. The marketers bought from them instead of being licensed. So people have now come and license some persons to say, oh, you have floats or import based on what they call I can't remember. So what the point there is this: the NNPC, that sector. If we begin to talk about it, a lot is happening there that actually is. Now listen, NNPC is holding shares for all of us here. Both the federal government and the state and the councils are holding shares. Why is it that the NNPC is here to be listed? Public offer. Is it in the Nigerian exchange for formerly MSC? So who is winning who? A lot of things are happening in this country that we're not aware of. I was reading the other day the report from our own Ujoga. I cried. What was he saying? He said that there are people, alhajis and big ogas, as they say, who are constantly flown with private jets to Medugri, mine where you have gold. The federal government of this country is not mining, is not even accessing the gold until recently the Tinubu government came and that's what the minister there is doing. That we are able to get lay things, but then more still needs to be done. So the resources of this country are not in the hands of the people. They are in the hands of few. So when you say oil subsidy or oil theft, let me shock you. Last year, OPEC gave Nigeria a quota of 2.3 million barrels per day. Nigeria could not do that quota. OPEC cut it down to 1.7 million barrels per day. Nigeria still could not meet it. Today, our quota is 1.3 million. Sometime last year, we were doing 900,000 barrels per day. So who is feeding who?
Okay, Your Excellency, still talking about this oil, because since Nigerians have refused, both the president, the past gone presidents and so on, they have refused to do some other things or shift emphasis to some other areas to ensure that the economy is high and boosted, but depending solely on oil. Now, I'm sure you have heard about these, Owando, Ajib, and so on. And what's your take on that?
Okay, I thank Comrade. Comrade was diplomatic, and then also he went into the matter that the information is flying around. I want to believe that as a government, you must be sensitive to anything that flies around.
Exactly.
If the thing is not flying around to your own interest, you unearth it and expose it to the public. One, the said MD of Owando, is he the MD of Owando? Is he related to who? And is Owando buying or have bought
shares?
And then what is attached to that is 17 oil wells. And which means that one person is trying to own 17 oil wells. Whereas those who own one, like T.Y. Danjuma, said he has so much money for owning one. Now, how is this the entire thing? How can we zero it in to know what is the truth and what is not the truth? I will use a parable to say, whoever is involved in that deal, one is unpatriotic. Because if you love your country, you don't want to own your country that you are even serving. You own the country, you want to own the entire wealth of the country. And people are looking at that. This calls for serious discussion. And I think that appropriate agencies should look into that. Let me be as diplomatic as the comrade, because one of my associates, I was saying something, he asked me, so a lawyer, I said, do you have any evidence? I said, no, I read it in the social media. I said, no, in court, you will not come to say that. So because of that, I will not enter into it. But whoever is behind that, rightly or wrongly, it is unpatriotic. It is against the interest of this country. And then you are saying Niger Delta people, you come from nowhere, you come and own the oil belonging to them, you alone. So if there is the hand of monkey in this, let them remove it, whoever is behind it, and let them find out whether this thing is real or not. This information,
yes,
whoever is spreading it.
I think they should be able to empanel an independent.
Find out whether Ajib has been sold and who is buying it. And I want to say that whatever they want to do, let them do. If they own it, when a people's government enters, they will revoke or whatever they have done.
And that brings me to something. You see, during the last time we were talking about the Lagos Calabar Coastal project, it was mentioned that the son of the president, whom we all know, has interest in one of the companies. Do you know the release that came from the presidency? And one of the things fueling this agitation for protest, say that the young man is old enough to own business enterprises and to venture or to even seek contracts or to even get listed or be in business as long as it is legitimate. But I am okay with that. Openly, yes, that is fine. We don't have any issue with that. But we also must remember that there is a law for all public officials. When your child is not up to 18 years, you declare their asset. But when they are adults and they must do government business, they must also declare their own asset. Because
yes,
we are talking about procurement. Because monies will be given out for contracts. So we need to be transparent. We need to know how we manage. Because
and the
first family should also be careful, because they should be careful, because conspicuous consumption and lavish ostentatious living are actually better more revolutions than ever. I saw the daughter of the president, the dressing man, the one that called herself sometime ago, first daughter. And I said, yes, it's good to use non-state actor channels to even tell them, because whether we like it or not, there is a tendency that the protest may also go south, if not well handled, because there are criminal elements who may not even be sponsored by the government. Let's accept that. But what I want to say is that if you are making this appeal, you should also at the same time live a life that is exemplary, that people will actually look at and say, okay, this is how it ought to be. We don't want to be seeing the first family or people associated or their hangers on being mentioned to any little thing that goes, whether in oil sector, whether in contract. Everybody, Babangida, they were all having children. Abacha, people have been here before. And I also believe that after, government will come and go. So let it not be that after you have left office, we are beginning to hear. Remember, these were the same people fighting Abacha, who will keep talking about Abacha's food. And the reason for fighting Abacha was to end corrupt, you understand, regime and repressive regime on when Abacha have Nigeria under the trade and goods. So I think it should be in their interest to make sure that the commonwealth of this nation trickles down to where everybody will enjoy. Nigeria is blessed, abundantly so. We have solid minerals, we have mineral resources, we have a lot of wealth. We even have untapped ones, we even have ones that we are yet to exploit. We even have uncultivated arable land that can actually yield productivity. Take this nation to prosperity. That is what the president needs to harness, not any investment where you have oil or whatever. So I think he has to actually begin to trace. He still has 3 years to go, and I think he can turn around. If he does well, we will support him because we want a better country. But if things keep going this way and we are being told to be patient, and we are being patient after, now they said it should be 1 year. Now 1 year has come and gone. The narrative has changed. 1 year is not enough. We'll be here if we don't take time, and it is 3 years, 2 years and counting. then campaigns, all of us will now be caught in that word. They're talking about the re-election.
I'm disagreeing with Congress about we were supporting. We are not supporting anybody. Let him execute the mandate he has been given. Yeah, execute. You have 4 years. If you know what you are doing, you don't need a second tenure. Execute this one and you will go into history. If you cannot do it within 1 year, I wonder what you will do. It took 6 months after the 1929 war crash.
Yes.
The American economy was destroyed. Roosevelt came, the first 100 days, he put FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He came within first 100 days. He put in policies that made America to become a superpower. So you don't need 2 years or 5 years or let me support you now. You have a mandate, execute it. A year is a year. You could have done something that is wonderful within 1 year. You can turn this country around. I said the other time if I had the opportunity, 1 year I don't do what I say, I resign. I don't even want to second tenure. What do you need second tenure for? 4 years, you can't perform, you can't turn the country around, and you are saying nobody is supporting anybody. Execute the mandate you have taken.
All right, Your Excellency, with what is happening in Nigeria today, I know you have a written agenda having contested for the #1 seat of this country, Nigeria, as president, though it never favored you. And you are still planning to contest again come 2027. With what is happening, assuming you were the one on seat, would you have allowed this protest, even if things had not been as hard and as difficult as it is now?
First of all, I will not, during my, after being sworn in, make a pronouncement that will cause havoc. I wouldn't do that. If I want to make such a pronouncement, there will be a normal meeting where we will discuss the pros and cons. What is happening? If we do this, what will be the consequences and all that? We look at it holistically and decide, of course, to say this is what we want to do. We will not do such a thing. And if you have a blueprint of what you will do, you will not be making statements or off the mark like that. You must be following it. My take is that there is no blueprint anywhere. They don't have any blueprint, but we will have a blueprint. We move from one point to the other. I said, until a country becomes industrialized, that country is in the wrong direction. We are talking about exporting of crude or exporting of crude. It is a 19th century idea of running a country. You process that crude oil. You should even turn down with it. If you have built 650,000 capacity, you can get pro for yourself another 650,000, so that we be processing it locally and exporting. So all the incidentals, all the advantages will come to us. We will not do that. We are keeping people busy in other countries while we are not doing this thing. It's a wrong direction for this thing. What we are saying is, until we continue to produce and export, I say, you produce locally massively and export massively. That is the logic of development. If you don't do that, no matter the president, no matter the party or so, the same thing will be happening. And when I stand at a place and look at what is happening, I say these people have no strategy to develop this country. They don't mean well, because if you mean well, Trump, his salary for 4 years, Trump did not take his salaries. So why would you be engaging in businesses that they are accumulating wealth? You are in presidential villa, you are free. Whatever you take is free, okay, everything. You don't need money again. You don't even need to do any business. Being president, that is sufficient for every member of your family. You cannot tell us that this person is an adult, he can do this. If I have such opportunity, no member of my family will do it. They are lawyers, they will do their legal practice. They are not going to take any contract from it. What do you need the contract for? That is it. What I'm saying, until Nigeria gets industrialized, industrialization is the key. Because so many people will be working, like all these things they are doing in our country. And when I look at them, I move around and I see these things that are important. I say, can't we start producing them? Because if we start producing them, we have cut off all this going to China. Now people who come from various parts of West Africa will come and they buy it from us. So we are still behaving like a third world country. When are we going to start being a third world country? When are we going to stop being a third world country?
When are we going to stop being a third world country? Year. Nigeria will remain a developing country, not developed for so many years.
We are not now, we are getting old.
After the years of independence.
I'm thanking you for using the word developing, because the estimated experts now believe that third world country would be derogatory. But actually, if you are to look at it, we are still at the periphery, and it's very, very.
And we are causing it.
We are causing
it. We are causing it.
As consciously underdeveloping ourselves.
Yes.
What must we be looking at IMF? IMF that says IMF. So IMF tell the Americans what they do.
Yeah.
Why must they be telling us what to do?
And that is the
we agree.
That's the problem we have, because the other time I say the problem we have is most of African countries. Do you know, as we speak today, out of over 14 to 15 countries in West Africa except Nigeria, in the category IMF calls HIBC, heavily indebted poor countries, that they can't even amortize. They can no longer pay their debts. Ghana is there, Togo is there, all of them are there. What do they do? You are owing IMF, you are not able to even do your budget. They will lend you again. They will tell you, okay, we are going to extend or expand the window of the borrowing. They will increase interest. That's debt trap. And Nigeria must be careful not to fall there, because we've actually done a lot. Somebody like President Muhammad Buhari messed up the internal borrowing. He bastardized or even destroyed the CBN ways and means and fancies. We also saw how they tried to convert it to token or to 20-year token or something like that. Sorry, bond, a 20-year bond. But what I'm trying to say is that we must begin to look inward, because the economy of this nation must serve this nation, not a few in the nation.
Right.
We must work in the interest of everybody, so that we have peace, so that we don't have protest, panic, fear, and sometimes even stampede. We need to be stable as economy. We need to be healthy, happy, robust. Thank you.
All right, because of our time, you just have a few seconds to address the issue of the protest. That is coming up in less than 48 hours, just about 48 hours from now. And now the Senate, Deputy Senate President, Senator Merau Jibrin, is still pleading with Nigerians to sell the idea so that the fragile peace in the country would not be disrupted. This protest, I'm coming to you, comrade. This protest, is it supposed to go on?
Thank you so much. If we are to have a peaceful, constructive protest, it's supposed to go on. But to the extent it becomes destructive, either hijacked by the political class. Don't forget what happened in Essex. I'm not trying to describe people who are intending to protest. Now, what happened? We saw criminals, hoodlums, chauffeur-driven, you understand? Chauffeured with SUVs, carrying clubs, knives, machete, to attack lawful protesters. We have seen the state actually unleash state actors, the military in this instance, against peaceful Nigerians who were waving the Nigerian flag, singing our anthem. So, but in all, I think the pens are there for everybody to see. All of us are feeling it. We buy from the same market. I had to trek to come down here because of what? Certain issues. I see that backstage already. So I think we all owe it to protest lawfully. Even as we are doing, some of us are protesting here now, you understand? Because I said, without protest, there won't be Nigeria. If the likes of Azikiwe, Awolowo, and rest had not protested, we wouldn't have had self-government. If at all people had not protested in the 90s, we wouldn't have had this Fourth Republic. And it simply means that President Bola Tinubu wouldn't be there. So I think the protest is within the right. And the Nigerian government must not see protest as an insurrection. It must see it as a civil right of the people to do what? To demonstrate. Demonstration means to exhibit your righteous anger, not destructive anger. Thank you.
All right, finally, Your Excellency, now talking about this protest, and then Nigerians, both journalists and so on, have been writing in various newspapers and news and so on. Even one of the national televisions, somebody also made that open. It was like an appeal, asking Mr. President to do something to see how they can ameliorate the suffering of the masses. Now, do you think that this protest will add anything, or will it force or compel Mr. President to coming out of his shell and, like you rightly said earlier, do you think he's going to do something about this subsidy?
I want to think that the protest has achieved its purpose. In strategy, they call it is winning without fighting. The long-term ultimatum has put the government panicking. That is the first sign of victory. So if you go ahead with the process, fine, but I would think that if the government is panicking, let the government do the needful. Let them, if I were them, this protest will not go on, because I will address the people and solve the problem. This problem has a solution. go back status quo ante to the original prices of fuel, electricity tariffs, and all that. The government can do it. If you want to help us, and we say don't help us, you leave us alone. You say you want to save us, we want to be patient. Leave the patients, help us, so that by, say, gentlemen, okay, I want to help you people don't want, continue to buy fuel the way you're buying it, continue to do this thing. That is what I think that, and I want to believe that today is 30th. Tomorrow is 31st. The Senate President, I just read that he has called for an extraordinary session tomorrow, Wednesday. He has asked the clerk of the Senate, one cubic or something, to invite the senators. I'm thinking it will not be unconnected with this protest. Let Mr. President announce tomorrow, reverting back to the status, so that because if he does that, the wind will be moved up the sails of the protest. And the protesters will know that they have succeeded. It's a constitutional right, and they are doing it. And if you don't like it, what is the origin of that problem? You solve it. If you create a problem, if you box yourself into a corner, find an exit strategy. Any government must have an exit strategy. If your policy is not working, you find out what you can do to make it work. So we are blaming everybody and saying things. The people are not responding well. Let the authorities respond well to Nigeria, and there will be no protest.
All right, wonderful viewers and listeners, this is the much we're going to take today. Well, Mr. President, if you can revert, we pray and believe that tomorrow's outcome of our meeting will yield something very positive. I may call on these protests, but if nothing happens, and a lot of people are hard bent to make sure that this protest goes on. What are they doing? They're only telling you to change your style of governance, to change the type of government they have today is suffering the people. People are dying in their tens and units, whether you like it or not. It's happening in so many places. I think that is why Alim Dume was removed from his position as the chief whip, and he has continued to say that. That is not sure that Mr. President is aware of what is happening. I'm not sure that is enough to have asked him out of his position. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy you have been there with us. In the studio with me has been Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade, we are pleased to have you.
My pleasure anytime.
And after him is His Excellency John F. Kennedy Osuala. Your Excellency, you're welcome. And thank you for being part of this program.
Thank you. Nigeria must industrialize or perish. That's the take. Let us industrialize and solve all these problems. No subsidy, no anything.
Okay, I'm sure those of you who are out there, you know when we had the International Equitable about textile mill and so on. That is what they simply say. Even the governor today, our amiable governor who they say is working very hard, can also come up with some of these companies, bring them back to life, and things will begin to work out again. He said, it's either Nigeria is industrialized or perish. And that's where we are drawing the curtain now. I've been your anchorman, Chinedum Godson Adiele. Keep it with us, or we shall be back again on that further topic. Bye for now.